Hey guys, and welcome. And no, the title did not lie. Today I shall be bringing Triple Elemental Bear in this free-for-all madness. Should be a good fun set of games, or I said big crazy game, as I am leading the force of Kislev up against Ogre Kingdoms, Slaanesh, and Nurgle. This was just a random battle that I hosted online. There was no limitations to the amount of units you can bring. It was the standard-sized armies, though. As you can tell, my army isn't particularly wide and thick. The Slaanesh forces are also pretty simple, and we bomb rushing towards them at the very beginning. So here we go. We have Armored Corsairs in the front, as well as one unit of Great Weapons in the center. Double Ice Guarded Glaives in the back. If you guys have seen any of my Kislev replays in recent memory, you would know I'm a massive fan of Ice Guard in general for their sheer badassery. Triple Elemental Bear is, of course, going to be the three-pronged centerpiece to our army. Now, Elemental Bears did get buffed recently. A bit of a points decrease, as well as melee defense buff, has made them a bit more powerful. I think in land battles, they were already quite meta against a lot of demon factions, but on domination mode, you'd almost never see an Elemental Bear. That may change, that may not. We'll have to see if the buff was that significant. It was of an ice switch of ice magic ride into battle on a glorious bear mount. Probably my favorite mounts in the game. They're so awesome. Simply coming in with Heart of Winter, and then a load of awesome abilities that you would standardly see, including the Snow Leopard summon. But the Heart of Winter is really the way to go, I think, particularly in a free-for-all where you're looking to get damage. As for the Slaanesh play, it is literally just Hellstriders, like a billion Hellstriders all the way along, double Soul Grinder, and a Herald of Slaanesh. We then have two other forces. To our right is the Ogre Kingdoms, coming in with a load of Man-Eaters with Great Weapons, who are notoriously feared across the galaxy, and Iron Guts in the mix. So a nice juicy front line. We have Greasus, Goldtooth, a load of Noblars, a couple of units of Gorgers, and two Noblar Scrap Launchers. Really excited to see Greasus, Goldtooth get in there and get the action done. As for the Nurgle player, going to be relatively slow and ponderous, as most Nurgle players are, unfortunately, due to their army compositions, and it's going to be a bit of a blob fest. So we do have a Plague Drones and Nurgle Death Heads flying high in the skies, double Chaos Furies, double Forsaken on the ground, a couple of Nurglings, a Soul Grinder, a Beast of Nurgle, two Cultists of Nurgle, and Kugarth Plague Father. You've got to love a Nurgle player who brings big old Kugarth. He also got buffed recently, so did those Plague Drone Death Heads, so interesting to see how this all plays out and performs. And I'm basically going to be trying to make friends for the first, 4 minutes of this battle. And everyone hates me. No one likes my Triple Elemental Bear. I'm pushing after the Slaanesh player, and he wants none of it, electing to instead flee and run before the might of Kislev. And I'm not the fastest lads on the ground. I mean, we have had a bit of a buff to our speed in general from Kislev, but Armored Corsairs aren't going to be that swift. So I'm trying to push over to Slaanesh, and they're not having any of it. They're actually rotating up and around, looking to circumvent the Nurgle, it seems, and loop all the way around, if possible, to get to the forces of the Ogres, where those anti-large cavalry you'd hope would help out significantly. Now, the Plague Drones are getting a decent amount of damage here, just chunking down at the Iron Guts, and it looks like the Scrap Launchers are releasing some shots across the battlefield. I just realized the scores are not up here, which is really frustrating for a free-for-all, but I'm on 0 points now, if you were wondering, and it was all Nurgle and Ogre Kingdoms at the start of the battle. The Chaos Furies are simply staying high in the skies, as well as flying. And the Plague Father is going to be bounced around looking to unleash hell, mainly aiming at the Ogre Kingdoms at the moment. Seems like he's focusing down Iron Guts. I would definitely recommend shooting into the Hellstriders, who are looking to perhaps swim a little bit too close to the sun. And it seems like Nurgle are going to be taking advantage of this, though. Kugarth, as well as the Soul Grinder, continue to harass the Ogre Kingdom player. Over here on the far side, we have our first real melee engagement. The Gorgers jump out of the trees and launch themselves towards the Hellstriders, taking the wind out of them. Hellstriders really like to get that charge bonus. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get it here, but Slaanesh plays some good micro, swoops around, and he's going to get that devastating flanker surrounding the Gorgers and really starting to drag them down. But now we have the Iron Guts in the mix as well. It is going to be a bloody affair on the far side here for all of these players. I say all these players but me, or the Nurgle player. We're trying to make friends still, and I am pushing towards him, but even he is running away from my glorious bears, and I just simply can't get involved in any of the action. And we're trying to push up the hill, though, and get some breath attacks on the Forsaken, so I can surround and take down the large single entities, perhaps with a mixture of pistol and bow fire. Slaanesh forces are crumping the Ogres. It looks like they are decisively winning this engagement, I would say. The Gorge is getting surrounded and dragged down. They may lose a unit, though. The Iron Guts doing a decent job in collaboration with the glorious Noblar scrap launchers, who are kind of getting jumped there by the Death Heads. And now the Elemental Bears do roar, and we do some gnarly damage down the flanks of the Forsaken. Likewise, Kugoth is the focus of attention for my Ice God. And look at the breath attack damage. Down to below half health on this unit of Forsaken. And I think we still have a one last breath attack going to be reaping havoc down the line of the second unit of Forsaken. Doing some big work. I'm waiting for my main line to actually advance, though. Ice Guard are shooting, but the Armored Corsairs can't quite get in on the action just yet. Kugoth, down to 12,000 HP, of course, has a plenty of bucket of room to regen that where possible. And this has gone really badly for Slaanesh. They surround the Gorges, who are unbreakable, and it's just taken them so long to grind them down that those scrap launchers plus the Iron Guts ended up actually flanking the enemy and obliterating them from long range. Fury swoop down, and they're relatively low tier. It seems like a good idea bringing so many fast-moving anti-large troops, but you gotta stick and move. You can't just stay anywhere for too long. You gotta bounce around and really try your heart out to get out of the enemy danger zone. Speaking of trying your heart out, we're going to be coming with a nasty Heart of Winter, an overcast version. My opponent is going to be coming in with an overcast Fleshy Abundance, but Heart of Winter is one of the most devastating spells in the game. It does disgusting damage, particularly if you stay in it for the long duration. That is kind of its weakness, as you can walk out of it, though you will be slowed in, particularly against Nurgle, who don't have the speed to get out of it very easily. This can be just horrific for them, and we're doing big damage here. We're destroying Nurgling's Forsaken. Looks like Noblars even want to jump into the frozen tundra of death, and we got some really lovely value there. Scrap launchers are also launching shots into the mid. Soul Grinder got unfortunately surrounded and just beat down by our little Roman death squad of the Elemental Bears and the Ice Witch. He did try to get away at one point, but alas, no one can escape the wrath of the Bear God. Coldest Nurgle does float up to my battle line and summon a unit of the pesky Plague Bearers. Not too fast by this, as long as I can pin them in with a unit of Armored Corsairs. Looks like Glorious Rot's gone down here, which is a little bit nasty. But as long as we keep the Ice Guard fine, I'm a happy ducky, because those shots are being launched into Kugoth right now, doing loads and loads of damage. The War Bears, or the Giant Ice Bears, are surrounding the Coldest Nurgle, doing some okay damage there. Big breath attacks going to be coming in, aiming at the single entities rather than the infantry this time. There's not that much infantry left on the field, realistically. And hey, damage is damage at the end of the day. Big breath attacks also going to clip these Noblars. And yeah, Noblars don't like that, funnily enough. Probably going to be enough to break them, you'd think. They are going rather quickly down to wavering. Big lash slaps my Armored Corsairs, as the rather pesky Herald of Slaanesh continues to float around the back line. Majority of the Slaanesh forces were forced off, however. We do have these Soul Grinders in the center doing a decent job, trying their hardest to fight Iron Guts and Man-Eaters, but all those units are really powerful powerhouses, and the Soul Grinders survive, my buddy! They're trying, and they got some really cool animations as well. I love their sonic blasts, but the Iron Guts really do have them in their grips right now. A second Heart of Winter comes down. Looks like this was another upgraded one. It's mainly single entities in the middle here, so not going to be the craziest damage. But the Elemental Bear, they are in their one true element here in the middle of the frost. So much damage going down. Noblar's taking huge work on them. And even the mighty Ogre Lord himself is suffering quite poorly. Likewise is Kugoth. He's very close to his healing cap here, as the Armored Corsairs and Ice Guard really do reign in terror. Those pesky scrap launchers have been really naughty in the back here. The Death Heads need to try and focus them down, but it looks like they're actually facing the wrong way, because these scrap launchers have a lot of ammunition left to spend, and they're currently spending it on me, which I'm not too happy about, of course. In the distance, the Herald of Slaanesh is being hunted down. I actually jumped them with a Snow Leopard, just trying to get some extra value in there, but with the debuff and Fury's being summoned in, our Leopard probably isn't long for this world, but hey, he was a summon. We barely knew him. Continue to hunt down Crucis Goldtooth is the Ice Witch, jumping on him, slapping him up all nice and juicy like. Elemental Bear is going to be moving in. The other bear is surrounded by Iron Guts, which is a little bit of a scary proposition. So we want to get the enemy general off the field and try to kill him to break the Ogre's morale. That is my main play at the moment. And then I can just float around assassinating enemy generals, and down goes the Flubby Boy. And even in death, his hand reaches for the giant turkey stick. So hopefully he can move on to the great feasting halls of Valhalla. It looks like the Elemental Bear's doing a decent job just trying to hunt down these pesky infested Nurglings as well as cultists. We're going to be bringing yet another spell. Is this yet another Heart of Winter? It is indeed. Heart of Winter going to be catching out Man-Eaters and Iron Guts. These Man-Eaters are chevroned up, so once more, some lovely damage. In the back, we've been jumped. Yet another summon has been popped on us. from the second cultist. Armored Corsairs should be able to deal with them. And the Ice Guard will take damage up against the Furies. We will slice and dice them up relatively effectively. Not quite as well as the sword variety. The glaives, of course, are used for anti-large, but hey, it should still be enough to fend off the evil demon beasties and drag them back into the pits of hell where they belong. Death heads in the distance were used to finish off one Noblar scrap launcher, it would seem, but now they're facing the wrong way again, and both the scrap launchers have indeed rallied. Shimmer Corruption hits our armored Corsairs, who are currently fascinated by themselves and going on a bit of a blood-curdling rampage. Elemental Bears are hounding Kugarth where possible. We also have, of course, our Glorious Ice Witch on approach. Big Breath Attack going to go down the line on the infested Nurglings, hitting them from the rear, doing massive damage. My god, they really want to explode at the moment and try and get damage in where they can. The other Elemental Bear is attempting to get a Breath Attack off, but I can't get him loose from these pesky man-eaters to do a big attack into Kugarth, who once again is going to try and retreat, this time through enemy forces as the Noblars do start to push in here. Elemental Bear and Ice Witch really ripping in to the Kugarth. Big scrap launcher shots coming into the flank of the Elemental Bear. That's going to do decent damage. We are also Armored Sundered, which we're not massive fans of. Elemental Bear screaming. He's exhausted, but he is well and truly still in the fight. And the poor Kugarth Plaguefather is really taking quite the pounding now. He does summon some more infested Nurglings into the fray just to try and stabilize himself a little bit where possible, or go out in a blaze of glory. We do a big breath attack aiming up at the skies, going to few the trees, and actually catches a few of the plague drones in some, not great damage, but it's damage, and I'll take it at the end of the day. At this point, I was in a pretty dominant position tickets-wise as far as who is in the lead, because in free-for-alls, it is done by damage dealt. Last man standing also gets a bit of a bonus. Ice Guard are clinging on, likewise are the Armored Corsairs. The scrap launchers have returned to rain fire in from afar, and this pesky Herald of Slanesh is the only unit I believe Slanesh has left, and they're just floating around, casting spells and cackling into the deep. We're doing so much work here in the middle, though. Looks like we will be able to surround and beat back the Plaguefather himself, the mighty Kugarth, who's not having a good day, and down he goes. He is ripped back into the realms of hell. Plague drones doing a decent job. Cultists as well are bumping and grinding against the Elemental Bears, who are being poisoned, doing some lovely attacks, and the Plague Drones are trying their heart out here, but there's so much power on the battlefield for Kislev still. I've still got some infantry as well, but not that much, and it looks like the Nurglings will be faltering, though it tends to take Nurgle quite a long time to go down. But with Iron Guts on the warpath, they pop a dismember down on the Ice Guard, so they can't flee, but hey, we're the Royal Guard of the Tsar and the Ice Queen. We're not going anywhere, just unleashing shots into the Iron Guts point blank range. Hold the line, ladies! Pull out those glaives and get to stabbing. And it looks like they will just about be able to hold with the Iron Guts going down here. The big lash flings its way through from the Herald, and that's going to shatter the Iron Guts and also make our Ice Guard not feeling absolutely wonderful, if we're being perfectly honest with it. We are doing a decent job down here, just finishing off the forces of Nurgle. I'm going to fast forward this bit because, as you can expect, it is me just beating down at these remaining Nurgle forces, and there's not too much my opponent can do about them, unfortunately. My infantry is getting cleared off. It does look like the Plague Drones go after the Herald, though with the last summon of Furies, the Herald is able to survive once more and probably finish off my Armored Corsairs as well as the Ice Guard. I've got a feeling the Ice Guard come back in the latter stages of the battle, but it won't make too big of a difference. I hunt down the cultists with the Ice Witch, and the Elemental Bears shatter the scrap launchers and force them from the field of battle, and it is just me versus the enemy. O Kingdom gives a bit of a middle finger to my forces and drops a dismember down just to slow me down here. But the Herald, yeah, you can try and cycle charge Elemental Bears all you want. I don't think that's going to go down too well, and the Ice Witch is going to float over here to seal the fate of the Herald for good. It was an insane game, it was a very fun game, and we were victorious, which always makes them a little bit more juicy and lovely. You can see there 19,000 value. That includes the last man standing bonus, nearly doubling second place. So a real dominant performance coming in with the lovely triple Elemental Bear. 1.9k, 2.2k, 2.7k value with the standout. Despite having so many cool units on the field, easily was the Ice Witch with 4,400 gold value. I mean, 1.6 and 2,000. The Ice Guard's lovely, but no one stops the Ice Witch. That Heart of Winter, such a lovely, lovely spell. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. If you would like to see more free-for-alls in the future, feel free to comment down below and I can try to mix them in a little bit more. Also interested in getting some more team games going and up on the channel. If you liked the video, make sure to leave a cheeky little like. It certainly helps push the video out more and more and allows us to worship the great YouTube algorithm gods. yeah, feel free to like, subscribe, comment, all that good, juicy, standard YouTube stuff. There's also a load of links in the description to my Twitch, my Patreon, where you can support the channel, as well as my Discord, where you can submit replays and get involved in the multiplayer scene. Until next time, guys, peace, and as always, stay awesome.